have to be your biggest fan. And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you're going to be, who you're going to be, who you're going
So, to be honest, these last couple of days I've been feeling a little bit down, and there is a reason behind it. I've recently found out that my granddad, Pop Pops, passed away, and yeah, I think I've been struggling to process it a little bit. The problem is I'm not really sure how to kind of process something like this, because I've never really experienced something like this before. Good news is that today I woke up and I feel a lot better. I feel fresh and kind of ready to go, I guess. Just a bit more cheery and stuff, so that's nice.
And you know, I often find that my mood does that sometimes. Like, I'll have periods where I'm feeling great and, you know, super creative and ready to like share positivity and happiness to others. And then to contrast that, I'll sometimes find myself dwelling into somewhat of a rut over a couple of days. It's kind of a cycle that I've begun to notice myself falling into. Pop Pops, you were the spirit of the family, and you gave me memories I'll never forget. Through the teasing and the good humour, you taught me and a whole generation of grandkids not to take ourselves too seriously. And I know you won't see this, but I hope in the future to do you proud. For your energy will always continue onwards in a piece of me. And as I go on and live my own adventure, I'll always have that Pudney spirit you gave us all. Whether you're here or not, I will always love you, and we will always miss you.
I'm sorry if that was a bit depressing, guys, but part of the reason I started this channel was also for it to be a video log, and obviously this is quite a big like life event which has happened to me, and I do want to document these things, but also I left that in there because I want to keep a genuine and kind of honest relationship as such with you guys, and some of you may connect to that, and I think that's a good thing. I don't want to ever be unauthentic on my channel, but I'm feeling a lot better and a lot more cheery now. I'm starting to process it more. Anyway, onwards for the actual video. Now, annoyingly, London's just gone into tier 4.
These areas will enter a new tier 4,
which is the strictest of lockdowns. So I'm not going to be able to go out in public and do my usual types of videos. Instead, I'm going to have to think a little bit out of the box these next couple of weeks, as unfortunately I am stuck inside. First of all, I'm going to reframe this video. Happiness is a temporary emotion. The definition of something temporary is something which lasts for a specific period of time and is not permanent. So, as this wise man once told me,
what's the key to happiness?
To stop searching for it, because that's a temporary state. So sometimes we shouldn't be happy. We've got a reason to be unhappy.
if we were happy the whole time, that would become our new normal and we wouldn't be happy anymore, which obviously wouldn't be a good thing. In other words, it's impossible for us to be happy the whole time. we have to accept that we're all going to have periods of happiness and periods of unhappiness. Instead, what we really want to be chasing is fulfillment. See, fulfillment isn't really a temporary emotion. Instead, it's more a feeling we get that makes us feel satisfied and that fills us up inside with a nice warm feeling. It's kind of the ultimate level. And whilst we can't eliminate all unhappiness from our lives, when we are fully fulfilled, those periods of happiness which we will have will last a lot longer. And although there still will be brief moments of unhappiness, there will be an underlying sense of satisfaction and happiness which will flow through us for the rest of our existence.
That's love, man.
So I'm going to scrap the original title of my video and instead I'm going to change it to A Guide to Achieving Fulfillment. Okay, point number 1. Do what you love. And I think the way to find out what you love is by trying lots of different things. If you're not sure what you love doing yet, just try a variety of things which you have interest in. For example, a year or two ago, I didn't know that I loved or had a passion for filmmaking, storytelling, and creating YouTube videos. It was only until when I tried to make my first movie or when I tried to make my first YouTube video that I realised that I really enjoy doing this, and that's how I found that passion. But I wouldn't have discovered that love and that passion for this craft which I'm currently in if I hadn't explored that interest. So if you don't know what you love doing yet, write down a list of all your top interests, and my suggestion to you would be to go out and explore each of those interests. And this leads on nicely to point number 2, which is that you should make what you love your work. And an entrepreneur called Gary Vee
You got your perspective.
first brought this to my attention, and I really resonated with what he said. Most of our generation, most of our society don't enjoy their work. They dread going back to work, and I think that's so illogical and completely backwards. So a great way to try and make yourself more fulfilled is by making that work something you love. And that way, rather than spending 80% of your life working in a job which you dislike and despise, you get to spend 80% of your life doing something which you love. I think that a lot of people don't do what they love as their job, either because of parental pressure, peer pressure, worrying about what people will think about them, but also I think people won't do what they love because they're worried about how much money they can make in it. But the way I see it is that if your job or the thing which you're working on is something which you truly love and are passionate about, then you're probably going to do a really good job at it. When you're passionate about something, you always want to put that little bit more extra effort in, and therefore if your work is something you're passionate about, that will shine through. For example, when I worked for a whole year as a waiter, I hated that job, and that meant when it came to putting in those extra miles and that extra bit of effort, which probably would have allowed me to make more money, I didn't do it because I wasn't passionate about it and I despised the job. But currently I'm a YouTuber which doesn't make any money. Hey guys, my name is Vonzy, but I'm also a professional video editor, and it's a big passion of mine, which means that when it comes down to me creating an edit for a client, I always go that extra mile because I enjoy it. And I think personally, because I have that passion for the edit, because I want to make that edit great because I love doing it, I think that's meant that I've been able to earn a lot more money than I would have if I didn't have any passion for editing in the first place. Your passion for your work will always shine through, and in return, I think that will result in you making more money. Point number 3. Don't chase money. Now, in my series
Asking Strangers, where we go up to strangers and ask them life's biggest questions,
there was 2 episodes in particular which stood out to me, and that was one where I asked strangers what their biggest regret was, and there was another episode where I asked strangers what the key to happiness is, and an answer I overwhelmingly got was to not chase money. Everybody said money doesn't make you happy. And you know, this is a bit of a weird one for me because when I was younger, it was all about materialism, getting the biggest house. That was all my dreams and aspirations. And I still do want to make money, but for me now, I'd much rather do my passion and do what I love and earn a lot less money than earn a lot more money but do a job which I hate doing. So yeah, I think a lot of people chase money because they think it will give them happiness, especially with social media, which exemplifies all of this. There's this image and kind of aura which gets built around being wealthy, and I think that image is that if you're wealthy and if you have money and if you have these materialistic objects like this nice car and this nice house, that you'll be happy. But that's just not the case. I think with materialism and chasing money, it's a never-ending spiral. You're constantly chasing to get the next thing, the bigger thing. You'll never be content, you'll never be fulfilled, you'll never be happy. So yeah, in my humble opinion, if you want to be fulfilled, don't chase money. Try to get out of that materialistic mindset and instead focus on trying to find what you love and do that instead. Point number 4, stop being insecure. In other words, stop caring about what other people will think of you. I wouldn't have ever said that I was insecure like properly, but I was definitely insecure in the fact that I didn't fully accept myself.
What is happening?
I didn't maybe fully love myself, but now I do. And I think the thing is with insecurity, when you stop caring about what other people think and just become confident in who you are, once you truly accept who you are deep down, I think that's where true fulfillment comes from. You're never going to be fulfilled in life if you're hiding who you truly are. Before, I had this kind of mental breakthrough and this kind of evolvement where I decided that, fuck it, I'm just going to go chase my dreams and do what I want in this life. Before that, you know, I cared a lot about what other people thought about me. I was quite insecure and I felt quite lost in general in life. And I'm not pretending by any means that right now I have it all figured out like some spiritual guru. Because I don't, but I certainly feel a lot more fulfilled with where I am, who I am, and what I'm doing in my life. And I think a lot of that has come from me just stopping caring about what other people think about me. And this leads me on nicely to my last point. Nothing matters, nobody cares. Now, this one may come across a little harsh, but it was something that I realised a while back and it was completely revolutionary for me. About a year ago, I had a really embarrassing situation, which, without going into details, was kind of my worst nightmare. But in the end, it was really great for me, and I'd go as far as to say that it was one of the best things which has ever happened to me in my whole life, because I had somewhat of what I'd like to call a mental breakthrough. I always thought that if this thing happened to me, it would be like the end of my world. But then it did happen, and it wasn't nice, but pretty quickly people forgot about it and moved on. And at the end, I was still okay, and I was still alive. To be honest, it was really freeing for me, because in a weird sort of way, it made me completely invincible. Because I thought, if I can have that happen to me and still be completely okay, then I can have anything happen to me and ultimately I'll be alright. But more than that, it showed me that people don't really care about what you're doing. Like, people in general aren't that invested in your life to deeply care about what you're doing and to analyse every Instagram post.
Emma_Ashurst1 used Ludwig filter instead of retro filter on her Instagram. What do you think?
Shocking. Now, it goes without saying that obviously there are people who care, and this may be a bit of a generalisation, but ultimately, nobody cares. Humans are inherently selfish, it's in our DNA, and nowadays people are so worried and concerned and thinking about themselves the whole time that they're almost definitely not taking their time to judge and think about what you're doing. And it was this realisation that made me decide that I'm going to do absolutely whatever I want with my life. I'm going to chase every single dream I have, because why the fuck not? If you do it or if you don't, nobody cares anyway. And I know when I say this phrase to some people, they take it as quite a sad thing. They go, well, what's the point of life then? But I see it as completely the opposite. I think once you realise this, it's like the best thing ever. If you sit in your room and play Xbox all day, nobody's gonna judge you for it. If you decide to sit in your room and work your ass off for 10 years chasing your dreams, nobody's gonna judge you for it.
So, if there's something in this life that you feel like you're destined to do, then I beg you to do it. Take that leap of faith and you'll never look back. Because in this life there's one thing certain, and that's that we're all going to die. So, you can either decide to go out and make the most of it, create crazy stories, live wonderful adventures and meet amazing people, or you can decide to do nothing. And I understand that this has been a really shit year for everyone. But still, when we look at the bigger picture, there's no denying that we are in an era which is undisputedly the best time to be alive. With the power of the internet and the power of social media, anything is possible. You've won the greatest lottery ticket known to man, the gift of life.